Jaron boots ENNIS versus Eimantas STANIONIS. They face off this Saturday, April 12th. Now, Jaron holds the IBF welterweight belt, whereas Eimantas is holding the WBA regular welterweight belt. Now, at first glance, it may seem somewhat obvious that Jaron boots ENNIS is being groomed to be a superstar in the sport, and so he is most definitely supposed to win this fight. But in all fairness to both fighters, let's break each fighter down technically and then look at how they match up. Jaron ENNIS is 33-0 with 29 KOs. He's 27 years old and he's been fighting professionally for approximately 9 years. Eimantas is 15-0 with 9 KOs. He's been also fighting professionally for approximately 8 years. He's 30 years old. So even though Jaron has over twice as many professional fights as Eimantas, they've both been fighting at the welterweight division their entire professional career. Jaron hails from a family of fighters. His father is his trainer, and his two older brothers also had professional boxing careers. The Ennis family is fighting out of Philadelphia, so very close to the venue, which is going to be in Atlantic City. Stanionis comes from much further away. He hails from Lithuania. He usually chooses to finish off his training camps here in the United States, in Los Angeles, at the Wildcard Boxing Gym. Stanionis works with Marvin Somodio, who is one of Freddie Roach's right-hand men in terms of being an assistant trainer at Wildcard Gym. Freddie Roach personally recruited Marvin Somodio to come to the United States to help him train boxers from the Philippines when Freddie had gone over to the Philippines with Manny Pacquiao. Let's take a look at what Eimantas does well, both defensively and offensively. In terms of defense, Stanionis keeps a nice, tight, high double guard. He's very disciplined with that. You rarely see him just drop his hands. He's able to do that for the entire duration of the fight. In terms of footwork, Stanionis has good fundamentals. He keeps his feet spread at the appropriate distance, neither too wide nor too narrow. He doesn't cross his feet. He maintains good balance no matter what position he's in. In terms of head movement, Eimantas is able to make nice, tight little slips and weaves, which is a high-level skill set. To his credit, after he makes a defensive move, like let's say a tight little weave or slip, he does come right back with counter shot combinations. In terms of offense, I think Stanionis' best weapon is his powered jab. He really throws that jab very well technically. He throws to the head and to the body. Eimantas will open up almost right away with his powered jab. What's great about that is if you can get your opponent to respect your jab, it makes it a lot more straightforward to then set up the rest of your punches to follow. You can tell Stanionis had good first few trainers and coaches because his fundamentals in terms of offense are also very sound. He throws his right hand and his left hooks and his uppercuts very properly. They're technically sound. He does not throw wide looping punches and he doesn't overshoot. Now, one big concern I have for Eimantas is that he tends to throw single shots, whether it's a single jab or single right hand or a single left hook or single left body shot. I'll circle back to this a little bit later. Let's take a look at Jaron boots ENNIS. Okay, in terms of defense, Jaron likes a variety of guards. He'll do the double high guard at times, but a lot of times he's just a little more relaxed and got his hands more at his shoulder height. He will do that little shoulder roll at times, but even more so, Jaron will use his feet, both offensively and defensively. He stays light on the balls of his feet. He'll circle back and out either to his right or to his left very smoothly and very fluidly. Jaron also makes excellent use of his upper body movement. He's very coordinated. He's got great timing and great reaction. So he's able to dip and slip, bob and weave, and pivot. I think in many ways, these types of moves, while Jaron may not absolutely be trying to showboat or show off, people tend to say, oh, that's, he's just so talented. He's able to do that. Yes, he is talented and he is coordinated, but it's also just hours and hours of practice and sparring and doing this in live situations in the gym. That's the way you build these intuitive reactionary moves. It's through practice. In terms of offense, what I like about Jaron's jab is that he varies his jab. He'll use a probing jab, he'll use a posting jab, he'll do a lot of feint jabs, double jabs. He'll vary the target within the same sequence from the head to the body to the head. And the wonderful thing about having such a variety of jabs at his disposal is that Jaron can always keep his opponents guessing as to what is coming next. Is it another jab, or is he going to start dropping in right hands, left hooks? Jaron is also very technically sound in terms of all of his punches: right hands, left hooks, body shots, and uppercuts. Now, of course, you could then double up on that because he's able to switch from right-handed stance to left-handed stance seamlessly, and Jaron's able to do everything that he can do on his right side. He can also do that on the left side. Being able to switch so adeptly like that is a real asset for him because he can always keep his opponents guessing. Once they start to get a read perhaps on one side, he could always switch to the other side. The other thing is, if should he injure one hand, he can always switch to the other side so he's not using that injured hand as his power shot. A few concerns I have for Jaron are: one, in his last fight, or in his fight versus Karan Chikadjian, he, for whatever reason, didn't really use a lot of his power jabs. He tended to do more probing jabs, which were not that effective. And should he do that with Eimantas, he could leave himself open to getting countered. He does need to throw those jabs with some bad intention or as absolute feints. Second concern I have for Jaron is that sometimes he tends to throw his rear punch a little bit too looping, and he winds up overshooting and then falling into a clinch. He did this also versus Karan Chikadjian. By rear punch, I mean if he's in orthodox stance, that would be his right hand, or if he's in southpaw stance, that would be his left hand. So instead of throwing those rear punches as straight, he tends to throw them kind of like clubbing and a little bit loopy. So if Eimantas can get a read on that and weave or slip, he's leaving Jaron's leaving himself open to being countered. If he's in orthodox stance, he's leaving himself open to being countered with a left hook. If he's in southpaw stance and he overshoots with his straight or loopy left, he's leaving himself open to being countered with a straight right by Eimantas. Let's look closer at how ENNIS and STANIONIS match up. Well, here's the main issue. I feel like STANIONIS is a little bit too predictable. He's predictable in terms of his high double guard. So if Jaron knows that his opponent has his hands glued to his forehead, he knows that there's an area just behind that double high guard that's open. He can also read as soon as Eimantas is going to throw a punch. As soon as his hand leaves that double high guard position, Jaron knows that he could then time a counter because the head is leaving that guard position. I mentioned this before, but the second huge concern for Eimantas is the fact that he throws these single shots. And again, by doing so, as soon as Jaron can get a read on his timing and his rhythm, Jaron can just unload with a fast counter combination. Now, my main concerns for Jaron are not technical. They're really more mental. And the question is, did he put in the work in the gym this time around? Because for me, it looked like in his fight versus Chikadjian, there was something missing there. He didn't quite have that edge. And he said right after the fight that, oh, yeah, I didn't listen to my corner. I didn't sit down on my punches. But what was it? Have you not listened to them? Obviously, you heard them, but that meant to me that you weren't able to execute. Now, again, is that due to a lack of proper conditioning from putting in those hard rounds of sparring in the gym? Jaron's been conditioned to listen to the sound of his father's voice, I think, since he was a child fighting in the amateurs. So there's certainly not a lack of communication or understanding between the two of them. It was simply a matter of Jaron not being able to execute what his corner was asking for. Now, I hope for Jaron's sake that he didn't sleep on Eimantas the way he might have slept on Karan in their rematch. I sure hope he put in all those hard rounds in the gym so that he's not just physically prepared to win this fight, but he's mentally prepared to win the fight and do so in decisive action. Is it possible for Eimantas to pull off an upset win? Yes, he always has a puncher's chance because he is a power puncher. If he can time or catch Jaron making a small error defensively, like leaning straight back or trying to be a little bit too showboaty with the shoulder roll, lean back, roll under, weave, pivot, then maybe Eimantas can land a heavy shot. If Jaron throws those looping rear punches, perhaps Eimantas can look out for that and time a counter hook or counter short straight right. But I think we can read the tea leaves, and we know that there's no way in heck, if this turns out to be a close fight, Stanionis is not going to get the nod. So I think he and his corner both know going into this fight they need a KO. Now, if you're enjoying these breakdowns, please be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe, and the notification bell so you know when we drop another really great breakdown. Also, tomorrow, join me for some lives. We will be going live at 5 p.m. Pacific time for the Boots Ennis fight. We'll also continue on and do a live for the UFC fights, the main card. If you are a true boxing fan and want to see Sergey Kovalev's farewell fight, it will be 6 a.m. Pacific time, Saturday, April 12th. I will do a live for that. 6 a.m. Pacific time, 9 a.m. Eastern time. We wish Kovalev well in his send-off fight. If you enjoyed discussing boxing and you would like to have early access to much of our content, as well as priority in terms of a reply from me in the comments, please consider joining as a member. Just scroll up to the join button, and for less than $3 a month, you can become a member of the Hamaguchi Fight channel. I look forward to seeing you on our lives tomorrow, Saturday, April 12th. Until then, please comment with how you think this fight between Boots Ennis and Eimantas Stanionis will turn out. Thank you for listening.